In the furthest reaches of the Terran sphere, where the light of soul is but a distant memory, there lay the world of Terra 106. It was a bleak realm of grey stone and iron winds, a place of toil where 3 million souls dug into the dark earth, seeking the treasures of the crust. For 50 years, the miners delved deep, driven by the hunger of industry, unaware that they were not digging into rock, but into a tomb. The wise among us have always warned, do not dig too greedily, and do not dig too deep. But we did not listen. And so, on a day that began like any other, the earth finally answered our intrusion. It did not begin with a roar, but with a shudder that was felt in the marrow of the bone. The great mountain of Olympus, the crown of the colony, split asunder. But no lava flowed from its wound. Instead, a hand of obsidian and fire, 5 miles long, reached up to claw at the heavens. The ground broke like glass, and from the deep places of the world they rose. The Titans, the Leviathans of the deep crust. They were vast, beyond measure, creatures of living stone and magma, their eyes burning with the heat of the planet's core. They shook the dust of eons from their shoulders, and their footsteps were like the hammer blows of judgment. They did not hate us, for we were beneath their notice. To them, our cities were but ant-hills, our towers mere blades of grass to be trampled underfoot. They walked across the continents, wailing a song of sorrow and awakening, a psychic scream that shattered the minds of those who heard it. They were calling out to the stars. They were calling for their masters, and the masters answered. They did not come with fire and engines. The skies simply tore open. Reality itself fractured like a broken mirror, and through the shards came the ships of the Wardens. Behold, the arrogance of the elders. Their vessels were not made of steel or iron, but of shifting light and impossible geometry. They were fractals of pure energy, turning and folding in ways that the human eye could not follow. They floated above the burning world, silent and terrible, ignoring the laws of physics as a king ignores the laws of peasants. These were the curators, the wardens of the garden. To them, Terra 106 was not a colony. It was a kennel. And we were the infestation that had plagued their sleeping hounds. They descended with a cold indifference. Beams of soft, golden light touched the raging Titans, calming their fury, soothing them as a shepherd soothes a frightened flock. But for humanity, there was no such mercy. The Wardens began to cleanse the surface. They did not burn our cities. They simply unmade them. Great beams of silence swept over the mining towns, and where they passed, steel turned to dust, and flesh turned to mist. The Terran High Command, seeing the doom of their people, sent forth the Riders of the Void. 5 battle cruisers, led by the iron-willed Admiral Vance aboard the UNSC Iron Duke, charged into the fray. But what is the sword against the sorcerer? The Iron Duke unleashed the fury of the atom, firing a volley of nuclear spears at the lead fractal ship. But the Wardens did not even raise a shield. The great geometric shape merely rotated, and the nuclear fire was transmuted into petals of cherry blossom, drifting harmlessly in the void. With a gesture of gravity, the Warden vessel cast the human warship aside, tossing 1,000,000 tons of steel as a child tosses a toy. Despair fell upon the fleet. We were fighting gods who could rewrite the fabric of reality. But the Wardens had forgotten one thing. They had forgotten that even the smallest creature will fight when backed into a corner. They had forgotten the stubborn pride of the sons and daughters of Earth. Admiral Vance did not flee. He looked into the face of the impossible and he sneered. "If they wish to be gods," he declared, "then let us show them that even gods can bleed." The Theta Protocol was enacted. The Horn of Terra was sounded in the deep. The void shuddered as the true host of humanity arrived. Not 5 ships, but 50. The Hammer of Terra dropped out of warp, a wall of iron and guns that blocked out the stars. These were not the tools of exploration, they were the instruments of ruin. 50 heavy cruisers, their Titan-class railguns charged with the wrath of a species that refuses to die. We did not fire. Instead, we locked every gun, every missile, and every laser onto a single Warden ship. We held a knife to the throat of their perfection. A voice entered the minds of every human, a voice that sounded like the grinding of tectonic plates and the sigh of dying stars. "You are loud," the Warden spoke, its thought voice filled with an ancient weariness. "Why do you defend the dust? The Titans are ours. We left them here to slumber, to heal from the wars of old. You are vermin in the cradle. Move, or be unmade." Captain Holloway, standing amidst the ruins of his bridge, fought against the crushing weight of the alien mind. He stood tall, and he spoke for all of us. "This dust is our home," Holloway replied, his voice ringing with defiance. "We did not know they were your pets, but you do not get to slaughter 3 million souls just to walk your livestock. Stand down, Curator, or we will turn this orbit into a graveyard. We will die, yes, but we will take your precious Titans with us into the dark." It was a bluff, a desperate, mad gamble, but it was spoken with the conviction of those who have nothing left to lose. The Warden fleet paused. The shifting lights of their hulls turned from a violent red to a contemplative blue. For a moment, the universe held its breath. The gods looked down at the termites, and they saw not fear, but fire. "You possess spirit," the entity mused, sounding almost sad. "Rare. In the cycle of things, spirit is the first thing to be devoured." And so, a truce was struck in the heavens. The Wardens ceased their cleansing. With beams of gravity, they lifted the sleeping Titans from the crust, carrying them into the sky like children, loading them into their arcs of light. They repaired the broken world, sealing the wounds in the earth, leaving our colony scarred but alive. But before they vanished into the cracks of reality, the Warden spoke one final time to Admiral Vance, a revelation that turned our victory into a cold dread. "We are leaving this galaxy," the entity revealed. "We suggest you do the same." "Why?" asked Vance. "You possess power beyond our comprehension. What could you possibly fear?" The Warden's voice trembled, a note of terror in the symphony of its mind. "We are not from this universe, little termite. We came here because our home is gone. It was consumed. The great silence, the pale kings, they ate the stars of our dimension. We thought we were safe here, but we have seen the signs. The stars are going out in your sky too." The fractal ships began to fade, shifting out of this plane of existence. "You fight with courage," the voice faded into a whisper. "But courage does not stop the tide. If you survive, find us in the void between galaxies. We will be waiting, but we will not stay to watch the lights go out again." And then they were gone. The sky healed. The Titans were gone. Terra 106 was safe. We had won the day. We had stared down the gods and lived. but the victory tastes like ash in our mouths. For now, we know the truth. The Pale Kings are not just a threat to us. They are a threat to existence itself. The Wardens, beings who treat physics like a suggestion, are fleeing in terror. They are refugees, running from the fire that is coming for us all. We are alone, and we are standing in the path of the storm.